Welcome back. Day 3, God Never Said That series. And this week we're specifically talking about you and I, we have to be good to be saved.
So many people are trying to do good acts and do good works and attempt to earn their own salvation. But we can never do enough to be good enough to go to heaven.
If you did not watch day 1 or day 2, this is not going to make sense. You have to go back and watch day 1 and day 2. Sorry. So, Jesus has returned. We are up in heaven, and basically, according to the scriptures, what happens next is this thing called the millennium, right? It's like 1,000 years of peace, and during these 1,000 years, the scriptures specifically teach that the books of life are opened. Now, sometimes we freak out about this, or I'll just be honest. When I was a kid, or when I was first reading and studying and trying to understand this stuff, like this whole idea that the books of life are open, totally freaked me out. Because here's, I'm just gonna be honest, there are things in my life, in Jason's life, that I don't want you to know. Or there are things in Jason's life that I don't want grandma to find out about, right? And so this whole idea of like the books of life are opened, right? Sometimes that can kind of wig us out a little bit. But here's the quick thing. According to the scriptures, when the books of life are opened, what do you and I see? And it's pretty clear. We'd have to go back and look at scriptures and spend some time, and maybe we can do that. But here's, I'll just be quick to the point. When, assuming that you are in heaven, right? If you're in heaven, let's say you're here, you're saved, right? Because we're trying to answer that question, go back to that idea that, do I have to be perfect or good to be saved? Let's say you are in heaven, you are saved. And someone walks along and they're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And they see you and they're like, how is it that person made it, right? Now I know why I made it, right? But someone could be like, how did you make it, right? Because they know you, right? Maybe they were with you when you did that thing. You know what that thing is, right? Or you told them about that story when you did that thing or whatever. And so it's possible that someone would be like, how is it that you made it? So that person goes to Jesus and says, hey, Jesus, I have a question. Do you know that person? Because I do. How is it that they made it to heaven? How is it that they were saved? So Jesus says, oh yeah? Let me show you. So he goes to the books of life. And I don't know if it's like a scroll, if it's a book, maybe it's like a massive, like virtual reality, a massive, huge, screen that just 3D screen, 4D screen, whatever that pops up. I'm not sure how it's gonna work. But the point is, when the books of life are open, and Jesus says, you wanna know why so-and-so is saved? Let me show you. Jesus goes and opens up the book of your life. And when Jesus opens it, what do you see? Absolutely nothing, right? Because when Jesus says, right, we have this idea, I know. And some of you may be like, well, how is there nothing? Because I was there when or whatever. And Jesus says, yeah, I know, I saw that. But when they accepted me as their Lord and Savior, right? My life totally covers their life. And they're like, yeah, I know, but they did. And you're like, I know. But Jesus says, I saw that when they did whatever. But ultimately, my life covers their life. So according to the scriptures, not what we've been taught or whatever, the scriptures teach that when we are saved, nothing is in the book of life. It's clear. In the end, the scriptures clearly teach that we will confess Jesus is Lord, and indeed, he is a true and righteous judge. He judged correctly.
Stay tuned as we dive deeper through this cliche.